Thank you, James. So yes, I'm Dan. I'm the DiGiGrid brand manager, and of course we've got you all here today to talk about some new products, which is uber exciting for me. Sort of the birth of a new baby, sort of I liken it to. But before we go and talk about the new bits, I want to take a couple of minutes of your time to talk about where we've come from, because part of our story and part of the sort of my belief in what we're doing here, is based on some really strong sort of founding principles. So of course we're making audio interfaces, and from our point of view, we are making the best quality audio interfaces. With the engineering on the audio side by Digico, and of course you've heard about the heritage of Digico and where we've come from. This is a really strong thing, and the quality of the audio is my primary concern, and that's really important to me. And as part of the DigiGrid brand, we have the Wave SoundGrid DSP, which is the most powerful real-time network-based DSP technology for plugin mixing and for plugins and mixing for processing on the network. And as you will see at NAMM, this is something that's really taking off. And we've been working hard on this for the last couple of years. Talking briefly about audio networking, I think networking has a bad rap, and people sort of have this really techie, IP addresses and MAC addresses, and it all becomes really complicated. And what we've done is made it simple for you guys. As far as it can be, it's become plug and play. And it's become a viable alternative to your standard Thunderbolts and USBs and other interfaces. So, networking is here to stay, and we're doing everything we can to make it as simple as we can for you guys. And we've had a range of products, and I really talk about these as a family of products. It's not about making a bunch of different products and you're going to choose one of them. We want you to buy all of them and combine them in systems and build big systems of these devices, not based on one product, but based on a coherent range of products, and that's really important. And in the last couple of years, we've made some really good progress. I've got a couple of examples of tours and studios and things that have been using it. So in the live world, from Janet Jackson to Adele, obviously doing very well at the moment, and to Sir Tom Jones, all relying on DiGiGrid as part of their live setup. It's become sort of an important part of their system and something they rely on, as I say, for every day. And it's not just Digico related. I know obviously maybe you guys are sitting there thinking that be essentially working for Digico and doing the DigiGrid brand are slightly biased, but here we can see Sir Tom Jones with an Avid console. In fact, his system takes us nicely into the studio because the system he uses live also works in the studio. And if we talk about the studio briefly, we have artists from Germany, Numeric Music, big German producer, obviously our Waves artists, JJP and Joe West, and you'll see more of his face over at the booth tomorrow. These products form the backbone of their studio. It's really, really important part of their workflow, all made possible by the power of the DiGiGrid and the SoundGrid networking and processing. So they're two more sort of traditional markets, but actually in the install market we've been making some great progress. I've got a good example for you here. This is a new facility in London called Tape, which actually is a creative space, combining a live performance space and a studio, allowing artists to come in and use a whole facility in a number of different ways. And again, we have this DiGiGrid backbone that powers this space with mic pre's and Pro Tools integration and live integration with a MADI box to a Digico. So there isn't really another family of products that you can put together to achieve this in such a succinct way, such an easy way. And that's what I think you guys really need to latch onto. So that's sort of where we've come from and what we've been working hard at in the last couple of years. Now, we talk about the Waves DSP, the SoundGrid technology, and all along we've been saying it will support third-party plugins. And here at NAMM 2016, we're very pleased to have on the booth actually for you 2 examples of new third-party developers running SoundGrid DSP. So from the Plugin Alliance, we have 5 SoundGrid compatible plugins. And this is the bundle that's going to be available very soon. So it's a selection of different third-party plugins running on the Waves SoundGrid DSP platform. And what's really cool about this is it allows users to take their tools, and we think of plugins as tools, and apply them to a bunch of different markets. So using the same tools, we can come to the live industry. You know, this is the Waves Multi-Rack, which is the hosting program for the DSP plugins. So the third-party plugins working alongside Waves plugins in the live market. And again, in the studio, using the Emotion ST LV1-based mixer and the Studio Rack plugin. So these user interfaces allow the engineers and the artists to use the same set of tools across the board, from the studio to the live, to install and everywhere, which is really, really cool. So that's Plugin Alliance. And from Flux, we have 10 plugins coming to the market. And again, we have some Flux plugins over on the booth. And here's a list of the ones they're coming along with. So you know, it's really exciting time for the platform as these other developers. I think this will drive more third-party developers to come on board and talk about SoundGrid technology. So that's the software plugin side. But what about hardware for DiGiGrid? Well, today we are very pleased to be able to show you what we've been working at. But what are these products about? I mean, you know, why? I want you to understand why we're doing the products we're doing. I think, firstly, from a networking point of view, this is the logical expansion of the network. You know, a lot of our users have taken those rack mount boxes we make, and they're great boxes. They go, but I really like this, and I'd like this. So now we have some expansion of the network, which is going to add flexibility, the ability to combine the old products with the new products together to build new, bigger custom interfaces. As I say, you know, this is this greater flexibility. Of course, as I said, the very first thing I said, they've got to sound good. So we have pure analog control, and they really do sound great, these boxes. I was in the studio doing some photos the other week, and we had an artist in there, you know, playing through them. And, you know, one of his first comments is, man, this sounds great. So come and listen to them. They really do sound great, these new interfaces we built. And I'll keep going on about it. It's about building a coherent family of products. So you can combine these things and build these amazing, unique interfaces based on what you need, not what some manufacturer's telling you need, which is really, really cool. So, something new for you. And this is the DiGiGrid S, which is our Power over Ethernet network switch. And here's a picture of it. Maybe not the most exciting product to start with, but we had to start somewhere. And if we have a quick look at what it does, it's a 5-port PoE switch. Obviously, you know, we've designed this to work with the SoundGrid network and all of our existing products that we make already. But it happens to be Dante compatible as well, which is really cool. So I know, you know, lots of people talk about networking, and there are other networks available. It sounds a bit like a beer advert there, but there are other networks available. So we have one that actually works with Dante as well. And it provides PoE for up to 4 devices. But none of our products are actually PoE powered at the moment. So why are we making a PoE switch? Well, we have another new product for you. This is the DiGiGrid M, which we like to call the musician's interface. And here's a picture of it. Wow, it's going to be big, I'm sure, but maybe not quite this big. It's actually probably closer to something like this. Ideal for the guitarist. I'm sure there's a few guitarists here who'd like to get their hands on one of these. So it is the DiGiGrid M. So let's have a quick look at what it does. First up, we have a single mic line input. I mean, a guitarist generally, a singer or a musician only generally sings into one mic at a time, so they need one mic input for that. And while they're singing, they're playing the guitar, so we have a guitar input for that. So it really is focused on what, you know, the guitarist, the musician is looking for. And on the top we have this really cool, and once you've had a feel of it, this really cool tactile big volume knob with this high resolution meters that run around the knob. So it really is a great feeling box. I got a great feeling knob and a nice box. Who wrote this? Oh, well, never mind. So let's... Quiet at the back. So we have a mic line input, obviously providing 48 volt phantom power, and has a high-pass filter. We've got a high-Z instrument input that can also double as a line input. A high-quality headphone output. You know, we don't do things by halves, so it sounds really good. Again, we've got this analog control for great sound and great performance. It can be powered from a DC power supply, or this is where the switch comes in, from a PoE switch. And there is an optional mic stand adapter. And actually, I have one here. So at the end, you can all come up and have a little feel of the knob. Amy. So that is the DiGiGrid M. Next we have the DiGiGrid Q, which is an advanced headphone amp. And here's a picture of it. And in fact, I have one over here, which I'll show you in a moment. So it is a multi-input headphone amplifier. So it's not just a single input. So we're all professionals. So for the professional user, it has two potential inputs. The first up being the SoundGrid network. So it does act as a logical expansion as a headphone output unit on a network that will work with all of our other devices. But it also has an AES input, which is great for interfacing into other professional systems. For the home user, you could also use the SoundGrid network. Your digital music collection on your Mac or your PC could be connected via the network port, just like a sound card, essentially, for your Mac or your PC at home. You could use this to power the headphone output. And for the audio files, there is an RCA phono, stereo phono input as well. So, we're trying to cover all the bases. There are lots of applications and places where you might want to use this box. And it is actually for everyone, because we've included Bluetooth AirPlay onto it. So actually I have a box here. If I turn the volume down and unmute the right channels. And just fade this up. So I have one up here. This is PoE powered. Stereo output just from the phones into the mixer. So you can see the cool LEDs, the meters around the volume pop. And to prove it's wireless, I have my phone here, which, if I knew how to operate my phone, which is the hardest thing we do. There we go, it stopped and hit play again, just as the track ends. How about that? Let's go. It's always the way, isn't it? You try and do a cool demo. So, that is my phone Bluetooth streaming into the headphone amp. So, it's a really cool, versatile little box that is going to work in a whole bunch of different markets, from the home user, sitting on your desk in the office, in a studio, in a live environment with headphone outputs. So it's a great little box here. Let's just kill this. Thank you very much. And then the final product for today is the DiGiGrid D, which is our desktop interface. And I have one of those here as well, which you can have a couple of look at. And here's a picture of it. And this has more than one knob on it, Amy. The DiGiGrid D. So this has two of our mic line inputs. Again, we're talking high quality, the same as the others. Two instruments. So if you're jamming with a friend and you want to get together and record, this is great. Two monitor outputs. We've got a big volume controlling pot on the top for controlling that, and a pair of fixed line outputs. So if you're going to run inserts or do other clever things, you've got some fixed line outputs and a headphone output. So it's a 4-in, 6-out audio interface. And again, analog control for our pure sonic performance. So it's a great sounding box, it really is. So this is the new family of DiGiGrid products to work alongside the existing range. Please come to the booth tomorrow and see them and hear them and have a little play with them. And that's it. And that's it from me. That's the new DiGiGrid stuff. So thank you very much.